Welcome to the Red Mic. Hope everybody's doing okay today. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message: moving forward with questionable authority. Now, what do I mean by that? In It's not a frequent occurrence, but there might be a situation where all of a sudden your ability to get things done is hampered by the loss of a key authority figure. Doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And when it does happen, you got to remember you're not alone. It happens in politics, it happens in business. Here's how it happened to me. Um, you've heard me talk about Senator Haywood before. Well, I ran his district and I handled all of his communications. And one of the jobs that we had in the district was to handle constituency casework. Now, what that means is anything from Department of Public Safety or prison system or HHSC or any of the dozens and dozens and dozens of state agencies. If anyone had trouble getting an agency to do their job, to help them, if they needed some help smoothing the skids, greasing the wheels, so to speak, um, oftentimes their last resort would be to reach out to the senator's office and say, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this. Do you think you guys might be able to help me out?" Um, well, as you may recall, Senator Haywood passed away while I was working for him. A lot of people might have phoned it in at that point, but I figured, you know what? Part of my job was to try to help our constituents as much. I mean, one of the first things he ever told me was, "Patrick, we are in these jobs because these people voted for me." He said, "We are in these jobs because some people didn't." He said, we should never forget that everybody out there deserves representation. They deserve to have a voice down in Austin fighting for them." So because of that, he told me that his top priority for his district personnel was casework. So I always kept that in mind. And then even after he passed, I was going to do my level best to try to help anybody. Um, I cannot tell you how many members of the Senate pulled me aside at the funeral or, any number of times after that to say, "Hey, if you have any trouble with such and such agency, if you need any help with any casework, give us a call. We'll help if we can." And there was only one member who actually, I think, meant it. And that member's staff did bend over backwards to help us. Now, their district was in very close proximity to ours. So, the cynic might say, well, they were hedging their bets in case, you know, your district ends up being part of their district. I don't believe that for a second. This person is to this day, I believe, is a person of high character, and I don't doubt their sincerity and the fact that their staff helped us quite a bit. That being said, at that point, it was normally 31 senators. At that point, there were 30 because Senator Haywood had passed, and only one of the remaining 30 seemed to do much of anything to try to help our constituents. And I get it. They're not your constituents. They're somebody else's constituents. But um, I will I will always have good memories of this person because of the fact that they stepped up and had their staff help us out. So, so what does all that mean? Well, the root of the problem in all of this is you've got authority and influence. when the person in your organization with that significant authority is no longer around, their influence, which quite often move things around, it can vanish overnight. In fact, I was actually in the middle of a job interview process with Senator Haywood's blessing with a company, and man, things were going great. And then he died, and then all of a sudden, I never heard another word from him until weeks after he passed. I finally got a letter in the mail saying that they had decided to go a different way. They wouldn't return my phone calls, my emails. So, I get it. Poof, gone with the wind. And people who were previously very responsive were indifferent or downright absent as a result. We still felt like we had a job to do, though. But we kind of felt like we were pushing that rock up the mountain and it was just rolling back over us every time. So, what do? Do your best to lean on relationships you already have or maybe build new ones. Identify new points of contact either within your organization that you're in or organizations that you interact with. Introduce yourself if you never have before. Tell them who you are, what you're trying to do, build a rapport. And building those relationships could be crucial to your future success, whether you're going to be there for a while until you find a new job, or if you're hoping to stay on board whenever who the new boss comes into the role. I chose to not try to stick around, but had I stayed around, I would have liked to think that all of my efforts to continue to do my job would have been well received. Where you can, leverage formal power. That one senator, we leaned on their office quite a bit. We did what we could to ensure we were utilizing any authority we had at our disposal to try to get the job done. If you're within an organization and all of a sudden your department head's gone, move up the chain or go sideways to another chain. Do everything you can to get the job done. Escalate it through different channels. Try to get some informal influence going. Sometimes authority doesn't come from titles, but from the relationships you have. Go to networking events, join different groups, committees, associations, become a familiar face in the professional community. The more people know and trust you, the more likely they are to support you or to help you in any way they can. And then last but not least, try to align your responsibility with the amount of authority that you have. At some point, you might just have to swallow hard and say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to get this done for you. I'm sorry. Maybe you can go to this person at this organization or this person at this business or this person. In my case, I referred a lot of people to house members that were in the same area. Bottom line is losing a key authority figure is incredibly challenging. I don't wish it on anybody, but use it as an opportunity to try to strengthen your own position, strengthen the way people look at you, the way people rely on you, and also the resilience of your organization. If you can build those new relationships, leverage both formal and informal authority, you can regain some momentum and continue to succeed. And don't forget, every challenge is an opportunity for growth and improvement. So take that to heart. It's, it's like the old saying goes, how many times did I fail? When they were talking to Thomas Edison about the light bulb, they asked him, well, how many times did you fail? He said, I didn't fail. I came up with however many numbers it was. He said, I came up with all of these different ways that wouldn't work. And that was part of my process. I had to figure out what wouldn't work before I could figure out what would work. And that's today's Red Mike message. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you will give me a like, a follow, and a share. I hope you'll come back again tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be going back to Mr. Meacham's, some of his 26 points for a positive culture. Didn't want to just hammer you A, B, C, D, and keep going and going. So I would hope that you would join me tomorrow. I don't know how many of those points I'm going to do, but at the very least, it'll be the letter D. Maybe it'll be the letter D and E. We shall see. I appreciate you. Again, please like, follow, and share. And remember, life is short. Drink the bourbon.